you, what do you think is the easiest kick to do headshot in Taekwondo if you are an inflexible beginner adult like myself? Do you think it's a roundhouse kick? How about a side kick? Well, let me show you my go-to kick to do headshot in Taekwondo. Welcome to the 9th episode of Every Show Taekwondo. Again, this channel is always dedicated to all the adult beginner in Taekwondo like myself who are inflexible but are still looking for ways to improve the Taekwondo to be a bit closer to other kids who started much earlier than we do. Now today, I want to focus on how to enact kick. Now as an adult, like most of the viewers here, we could be inflexible and doing a side split is almost impossible. And because of that, any kind of kicks that require opening up the hip to get to the head level is always challenging. It takes a lot of effort because you have to fight against a tight muscle to get to any kind of heights. So why do I think that out to in X kick is easier for adults? Now, I think for an adult, you have a better chance to achieve front splits than doing a side split is because your body is more natural to go forward and backward, right? You do walking and running and all these motions are going from forward and backward. And that's why in Taekwondo class, you start with front snap kicks. It's easier to do. Now, with the out to in X kick, there is some requirement of hamstring flexibility. So that's why we want to do a little bit of like a stretching and get your hamstring warmed up before performing this kick. And I think given in the right circumstances, right situation, even though it is a wildly swinging kick, it's quite easy to score in headshot during sparring. So let's get to it. The first tip on out to an X kick is you need momentum to execute this kick. Now, unlike young kids, right, they can pretty much just lift the leg straight up, gently without any effort. But for us, we need all the help we can to get to any kind of height. And that's why we need momentum. And in order to gain momentum, I would step to gain speed and gain the momentum before kicking. And that's why I always do my out to an X kick with my back leg because that I get more swinging motion from the back leg. Another thing about the stepping is you want to be sudden. You don't want to just gently step in. It won't be effective. You want to be quick to go in, right? And one more thing about the stepping is you don't just step in. You want to turn a bit so that when you're kicking, it's almost a kind of a rotating motion. You torque your body when you kick, right? So you step in quick, you turn. Second thing I want to talk about out to an X kick is there are different variations with this kick. One way is you kick with a knee bend so that at the point of impact, you are kicking with the bottom of the foot. It's definitely a good idea because it minimizes any kind of stress to your knee, right? But for adults, for inflexible like myself, if I'm kicking with my knee bended, that means I'm also reducing my reach, reducing my height. That's why I would prefer to kick with my leg straight. Now, I know a lot of you may argue that it will put a lot of stress on the inner part of your knee. It's not completely true because if you are doing an out to in X kick, especially in headshot, the stress to your knee is actually not that much. The resistance from your opponent's head to your knee is actually not a lot because at the point of impact, your opponent's head would definitely kind of lean back. Unlike if you're kicking to the body that doesn't move at all, the stress to your knee is definitely a lot more. So another thing is when you are doing the out to in X kick, you want to turn, right? So by the time your foot impact with your opponent's head, it is already slightly angled. So it's almost feel like an X kick to you. So the stress to your knee is even lesser because of the turning motion. So as far as application of the out to in crescent kick, it is a close range kick. So typically you would do this kick while you are in the clinching position or while you're approaching the clinching position. That's why you see a lot of players in clinching position, they will start holding the arms up, anticipating an out-to-in crescent kick will be coming their way. I guess one of my favorite ways to apply the out-to-in axe kick is I would try to go in with maybe a front roundhouse kick, get to a pretty close range, right? And then do a out-to-in right away. I would go in with an with a cut kick, punch, and then follow with an out-to-in crescent kick. Now, when you are in the clinching position, what you want to do is a couple of things. You want to kind of hold the arm straight, but make sure you're not holding an opponent, right? When you're holding your arm straight, that will make your opponent harder to raise the arm up to block your kick. But make sure you're not kind of holding your opponent. But then also another thing is when you are clinching, you may get too close, and it will be very difficult to kind of get past the body, right? So in that kind of situation, I would step back right away and then apply the kick. So be very careful not to get caught in the shoulder, because if you do, it's very easy for your opponent to push you down onto the ground. So how do you avoid getting hit from an out to in crescent kick? I think it comes to knowing your opponent. For my kids, they have very strong out to in crescent kick, and I know that when it's come to clinching position, this kick very likely going to come towards my head. So you can't really dodge an out to in axe kick, right? You may try to lean back, but the range of the kick is so wide, it's very hard to dodge. And you can't really lean back to dodge either, because the kick will just kind of go towards your leg. What can you do, right? So pretty much the only way is to hold up your arm straight. That's why you see players do that during sparring. For me, my personal preference is to use a shield to block, because I find that a lot of times when the opponent is flexible, their leg actually go around the arm, is still getting my head. So I prefer to block with a shield, right? And give you a little bit of leverage to push them down too when you're holding the shield. Before practicing your out-to-in crescent kick, you need to make sure your hamstrings are fully warmed up. Try to do front straddle, or even better, front splits. But like I said, full front split is really not required for this kick to land a headshot. And you can see my right leg, which is my dominating leg, is far from a full front split. Here I just want to show you how I practice out to an axe kick with my homemade standing target at home. If you don't have a standing target like that, it's perfectly fine to hold your hand out as a target. Now in practice against a wave master, you don't really want to kick it too hard, rather you just want to kick around or above it, because you don't want to put stress on your knee. Thanks for watching this video. Again, I think the out-to-in axe kick is one of the easiest kick to land a headshot if you are an inflexible adult like myself. If you like this video, make sure you click like, you subscribe to my channel so you get all the latest upcoming video that I'll be posting. Until then, I'll see you next time. Practice hard.